always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like. There's always just that active and that defending. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. And with an introduction like that, what more needs to be said, man? I've got Roms, I've got George. It's a Premier League show. How you doing, fellas? You good?
No,
yeah, man.
Good.
I don't know for them window the blinds, man. You looks like you got some shit over there, man, George.
What you're looking at is top of the league, sir. You're looking up right now. That's what you're
look
doing.
at the league table, man. I just keep working hard, see where it can take us, man. You lot on the top of the pops, man. We're just trying to be like you, man.
DG, can I just say that was a banger? That goal in the intro was a banger.
Wonder, man. I'm gonna spin that for the rest of my life. I'm telling my son I've done that in the Champions League and all sorts, bro. But yeah, man, I've got you lot here. Obviously, we're gonna talk Premier League. We're gonna talk football. Feel free for any talking points. Obviously, if you didn't know, we've got Liverpool, we've got Spurs, unfortunately, and we've got Arsenal in the build. They did it. So first thing I actually want to ask you lot, yeah, as a neutral, because I've obviously waffled about Arsenal City. As you two have got nothing to do with Arsenal or City, what did you lot make in the game? Don't move shit, man.
All right, cool. No. I was running as George was jumping. Do you know what it is, yeah?
He's like a backup Arsenal fan, isn't he? He loves
Didi, there's this narrative that I'm Arsenal, but no, man, Liverpool 3-3. But there's this notion that the game was boring. Now, cool. As a neutral, it wasn't the most exciting, but I've been saying, because me and George, we chopped this up over the weekend. I feel like it's testament to both clubs. You nullified each other. The respect was there. So it's never going to be that open-ended, entertaining game. But I just feel that was a big win for Arsenal to get over that hoodoo. It was more of a mentality thing for me, because I think it was what he hadn't won in 8 years and about 12 in a row.
It was 12-1 on aggregate now, really. So yeah, but we got to do a lot to kind of put that positively, man. Like,
and if you say that to someone that hasn't watched football, bro, it's 12-1. They figure out. So you still lost all the other games, but you won the last one. But I just feel Arsenal, man, you took it to them, and I think Arteta needs big credit, because for me, it showed he's learned from his previous mistakes, the timing of the subs, the way you set up. I think it was class on Arteta. City, they've got a few teething problems, but we know they normally kick on from the second part of the season. But for me, that game was a big win for Arsenal. Wasn't the most excited as a neutral, but like I said, the respect was there. Both teams tried to nullify each other, and that's what happened.
Pretty much. I see it the same, man. Like, for me, like, to be fair, you give Arsenal their pat on the back. Like, at the end of the day, you guys went there. You're at home. You went there to go win the game, and that's what you guys did. Whether the circumstances were a bit lucky, at the end of the day, you need luck on your side, and that's what happened on the day. I thought it was a boring game. Tactically, of course, it's nice to watch. You see two like master tacticians at their work trying to break down each other's game, and you can sort of see that Arteta was winning. Arsenal played the better game. Arsenal took control of the game. Once you guys grew into it, it was Arsenal's game. But I do look at City, and I think that was just a poor City. Like, to be fair, that's probably one of the worst performances I've seen from City in a very long while, especially with regards to their final third, shots on goal. They just missed all that creativity, and it's a reflection of City at the moment, to be fair, without KDB. And to be fair, whenever KDB doesn't play, finding Haaland's not an easy option. They always struggle to make it connect with Haaland, and you could see that on the weekend. And Saliba, he absolutely shut him up shop. Like, Saliba had a world-class performance on the weekend. But yeah, no, all over. Like, at the end of the day, it's all about the result. Especially, like you said, it's been 12 games that you guys lost in a row. It was just all about getting that win, and it's a big win for you guys. Whether it's 1-0 or whatever the result was, it's just a big win. So going into the next game of the Etihad, they're going to be wanting to get you guys back bad, and Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a good game.
Exactly, man. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not looking forward to it. And I echo what you lot are saying. Like, of course, for the neutrals, probably want it to be a bit more of an exciting game. At the Emirates, we're almost typically good value for money. That was there in the United game, was there in the Spurs game. It's been there for the last 12 months. So I was surprised to win the game. Obviously, I was a bit surprised to keep a clean sheet. The biggest thing I liked is kind of what you lot are alluding to about the mentality and things. And for me, as the game kind of went on, it's like we was growing in confidence. Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing in the second half. As you said, there was a bit of fortune around the goal, but you have to earn your luck in it. And I think the way it was created, we're bound for that. And I think it was a good mental test. I don't feel we can draw any conclusions and say we're here, this, that, and the other. Like, it just shows that we can compete, and it needs to become a minimum. And for me, added on to that, it's nice to get 3 points, because in the last couple of games against City in the league, excluding when Rob Holding was there, it has been a bit more closer. It has been a bit of a chess match, but fundamentally, we've lost the games in it. It doesn't matter if you play well, you need to get 3 points. And we've already dropped, 2 points from winning positions against Spurs. We were about 3 minutes away from beating Fulham. So if we are fighting for a title, you need to take points off your quote unquote rival. So I don't feel you can draw any conclusions. I mean, how far does the no Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri thing go for you lot? Because for me, of course, any team missing players is going to hurt them. But as an Arsenal fan, I don't think rightly so we was afforded that luxury last season. I personally don't have sympathy for any Premier League team that suffers injury, unless you got 10 man out or 11 man out or something like that. Injuries are part and parcel of the game. And if playing devil's advocate, a team like City, they should, if anyone can cope with injury, surely it's them.
I do agree. And I do think to an extent, like, it's not an excuse. But when you're looking at the best creative midfielder in the world, and you're looking at the best
100%.
defensive midfielder in the world, to take that out of City's team, you're looking at, like, their team's going to drop off a big level. Like, that's
100%.
just natural. But like you said, it's still not an excuse, because they had enough players to go and get the job done. They have good enough players to get the job done. And quite frankly, I don't even think the battle was lost in the midfield. I just think that they wasn't good enough going forward. And that was because their wing play was poor. When Doku come on, it was too obvious, like, that they're just going to give the ball to Doku and try to create for him. If they had him on from early, he would have had Ben White on toast, but it just took too long for that to happen.
Yeah, for me, I think you hit the nail on the head, Gigi. That I think if you're top 16, let's stretch it to top. Actually, no, keep it top 16 in the Prem. So that's obviously our three teams: United, Chelsea, and City. With the amount of money all of our clubs have, we should have enough to cater for the rest of our squad. Whether your owners have as much ambitions as the next owners, that's another story. But I hear what you're saying, but I also hear what George's saying. When you've got the best DM in world football out, and you could say, matter of opinion, some will say Modric, some will say other players, but the best 8 of the last couple of years in KDB out, it is going to be advantage Arsenal. But at the end of the day, this is, like you said, it's part and parcel of the game. You're going to get injuries. You get key injuries. But sometimes in a season, it can align for you. Because I remember when we won the league, right? Our 1 to 11, hardly any of them got injured the whole year. But we were quite fortunate because we got knocked out early of the 2 domestic cups. And you remember Atletico Madrid, I think that was the last game before COVID. You had Morata and Llorente sliding all over the place. But we got knocked out quite early in our competitions, where I don't feel that would be the same for you. But I think for Arsenal to have a good chance this year, I think your 1 to 11 has to stay fit. But we know in football that is highly unlikely. So for City, that's the one team I have least sympathy for, because they've got one of the, I'd say, after Newcastle now, I think they've got the second richest owner in the league. They have spent, and like George said, for me, I think this was Pep versus Pep. I feel even though they had 2 players key that were missing, you kind of got to look at Pep in this, and it's rare, but I think he could have started with, for me, different personnel. Like George said, if Doku's on, you saw he was so direct, but then you got to give
Doku still.
Same. I thought he would start him, but then you got to give Arteta credit, because he then made that change with Tomiyasu to then nullify that, to the point where I think Doku had to switch wings or whatnot. And he's learning from his mistakes. Because remember Anfield when he brought on Kivio, and I think it was Jorginho, and it just went to shits for you.
Went up front against Van Dijk, which it
just didn't make sense.
You're right.
Yeah, bro. So I think I don't really have much sympathy for City, but it did put them at a disadvantage. We're not stupid, and 100%. Like George said, going back to the later on this season, going to the Etihad, then it will be a different story. But you can't feel sympathy for me. Other teams, let's say you look at a Palace now. Now they've got like Eze and Elise out. You're going to feel for them because they don't have the budget our clubs have. So their golfing class off the bench, it's not as much. But when I look at the top 16s, I never really have sympathy, man. Never. So you have to just be honest. Arsenal deserve the win. And I've been seeing this notion of lucky goal deflection and that you have to make your luck. If you don't shoot, you don't score. Do you know what I mean? You gotta make your luck at the end of the day. So nah, man, I don't feel sympathy for City. So the Arsenal are fair and square. You know what I mean?
And that's my thing. It's like, obviously Arsenal fans online are a bit crazy, but it does feel for people like myself like you can't win. If you go toe-to-toe with City and you don't win, people say fundamentally you don't get the result. If you kind of match them where you can match them and be good where you can, and you quote-unquote win ugly, it's a lucky win. It's all of that. And obviously there's a bit of agendas, etc., etc. Personally, I don't care because it's 3 points on the board. While I don't know what that 3 points means, it's nice to go into an international break with obviously 3 points. You lot have got me thinking, and I want to relate it to you lot. Based on how the game went and some of you lot's talking points, and obviously all the talk was around Rodri, rightly so, he's a quality player. Could it be argued that Rodri weren't really a miss? It was more Kevin De Bruyne then?
I feel like it's like they come as like with Rodri, if he goes into the team, they play like it's just a completely different game because Rodri just controls the midfield so well. He controls the pace of the game. And then at the same time, with De Bruyne coming in, I just think attacking wise, like everything that they missed going forward, they looked so bad going forward against you guys. Literally, they had nothing. They couldn't break that defense down once. And honestly, it's the worst I've seen them go forward. And with De Bruyne, I feel like he just fixes the problems. He finds the passes that a lot of the other players don't. He beats the man in the 1v1 that a lot of players don't. And that's the thing. I feel like both of them just bring different parts of the game that will just make it completely different for City.
For me, if I had to pick one, I think KDB was a bigger miss. I say that to say this, right? City weren't bad defensively. For me, it was offensively they were bad. Because let's be honest, it was 0-0 till the 80. I think Martinelli scored 87 minutes. Exactly. It looked like it was ended, and then for Desmond, so a 0-0 draw. So my thing is KDB, because I think you've even been seeing it's been evident in Haaland's last 3 or 4 games. City have quality players. I think we'll all admit that, but it's the quality of chances, in my opinion, because you can't. Rodri was a miss, but the fact City only conceded 1 goal in the latter stages showed they were defensively resolute, as well as Arsenal. For me, it's KDB because I'm looking at Bernardo. I rate Bernardo highly. Mateus Nunes, I rate. Kov, I don't think was the right signing for them. You then got your Fodens, you then got your Alvarez's. That is a quality team, but they're not KDB. They'll give Haaland chances, but the quality of chances drops for me. That's what I think it is. So for me, KDB was that bigger miss as opposed to a Rodri. They're both key, but for me, if I had to pick one, it was definitely KDB. And I think Haaland, even if you was to ask Haaland, you're missing him, he'll be like 100%. Like I rate everyone else, but he's the guy. If you look at most of Haaland's goals, I think KDB had 1/3 of the assists last year, or something crazy like that. So for me, KDB was the bigger miss, man.
I think that's fair, man. Let's get on to you lot's clubs, man. What's the good, bad, and ugly over at you lot sides, if there is any? All right, let's talk Spurs. And
I only think it's right. You start. You're top of the tree, innit? You start.
Yeah, no, of course. To be fair, there's really nothing bad at the moment. Like I can't. If I'm being real, there's really not much bad going on at our club. Everything right now is all peaches and roses. Like the start of the season's been perfect. Like from my point of view, you can't really complain about the way that it's gone. I thought that we would have lost the game by now, but the team just continues to show resilience late on into games. The mentality is there. You could see that very big shift from last season. Like under Conte, a lot of the times our teams were just flaring away at about 70th minute. Down tools. And there's still 20-30 minutes left of the game. Now our teams are going out. We're going out for 90th minute. Beyond the 90th minute, the same players are there. And our squad's not big. That's the one thing I will say. We're obviously still a bit worried. We know our squad's thin. We had a few injuries already. Got a few players coming back, but we just have to keep hoping that we keep these players fit, keep them playing, keep them fresh. But Maddison's just been a breath of fresh air.
Honestly. Absolute
breath of fresh air. No, honestly, like he's been so good. Like everything about his game is just you don't even as a Tottenham fan, I don't even miss Harry Kane. I can say that so freely that I don't.
You've answered the question I was going to ask you there.
I was going to ask it as well.
No, a lot of as a top, I don't miss Harry Kane. Like, of course, like him being there and his goal scoring was amazing. But when you actually watch Tottenham, like, there's nothing about our game that you think, oh, like I miss having him there because Maddison's doing the job creatively. Maddison's has everything to his game.
You don't think you'll miss 30 league goals and however many were match-winning goals last season?
You know what? I think we will probably miss that. Well, I reckon later on into the season, the match-winning goals and when we're having these games where we just can't. Like right the other day against Luton, we had chance after chance after chance, and it's Richie on the end of those chances. We're gonna miss that. We're gonna miss.
You
that
know, if
now.
that's Kane, that's a hat trick. That is a hat trick.
Richarlison's a joke, man.
The thing that I feel like Tottenham fans are gonna have to get used to is we're like other clubs now. Like we don't have a star striker. There isn't that many star strikers in the Premier League, and most other clubs have to deal with their players missing loads of chances. Like Arsenal have to deal with Jesus and Nketiah missing chance after chance. Liverpool, Salah, Diaz, Jota. Like all four of them love to miss chances, but you guys create in higher volume. So that's something that we're gonna have to get used to. Richarlison's an absolute mess. He's a mess. That guy could not start.
I feel sorry for him now. In truth, man, it's not even funny anymore.
Do you know what I did? I felt sorry for him up until like at the end of the day, he's a footballer. Like you can only prove to me of your skills. I hear all the mental health stuff and all the stuff you're going through. Yeah. That is completely fine. Like I'll support you, and the fans will always support you on that side of thing. But when you come onto the pitch and you're missing chance after chance after chance, and you're not proving to us that you should be starting, I can't feel sorry for you for not performing, bro. I need to see you on that bench. I need to see my top players playing because Tottenham are playing one game a week. We're out of the League Cup. We can only focus on the league. So every game that we have is important. And I need to see this team playing its best players, performing at the best. And, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing us come back from the international break because the last time we came back, Sheffield United, we nicked it in the last minute. Of course, although we played really good, we needed that last minute resilience to finally get over it. But coming back, we've got I think it's Palace. No, we got Fulham at home, and then we got Palace, and then we got a few harder games coming up. So we got a good run in that I'd like to see us test. But I just see this question: how we're going to set up about Basuma. This is one that I'm interested to see. You know,
that's
I think Højbjerg will come in.
It's a big
miss.
At the moment, it's Brighton Basuma finally.
Yeah, literally. But I think, to me, I've always said last season, you just wait for him to go in a 3-man midfield and a possession-based team. You're going to see the same player. Last year, trying to put him in a 2-man midfield under a team that sits deep, it just didn't work with him. It's not the way
crippling him,
it crippled him. So I think Højbjerg's probably going to come into our midfield for the next 2 games or however. I think it's one game of suspension. He's been coming off the bench doing a job here and there. He's not good enough, if I'm honest. I do want to see him go eventually, but until we get Bentancur back, I don't really see another option for midfield.
George,
she's 3 or 4 weeks away.
That opens that gateway because I was going to ask you. I've been seeing a few murmurs and rumors. Apparently, he's doing individual running now.
Yeah,
I don't know how true this is.
Yeah, he's back in training. He's about 3 to 4 weeks away from being back in the team, like being able to be available for the squad. So he's back. Like, he's working back. He'll be like a new signing, honestly. Like,
do you know what it is, George? Because me and you spoke many times about Bentancur. He's one of my favorite Spurs players, and I think after Maddison, he's your closest thing to a creator. Like you've seen it, you saw it in glimpses. Juve days, couldn't really break into the Juve team, but bro, Bentancur, like you said, he's gonna feel like a new signing, man. I think the sooner he gets back for you lot, the better, because he's a player. I wanted him for us. I genuinely wanted us to sign him from Juve.
Well, have you made Postecoglou as well?
Postecoglou's been. Do you know what? When he first come in, obviously I was one. I didn't really call him out. I wasn't one of these fans that were saying, "Oh, he's not the one for Spurs." But I didn't know about him. I'll be so right. I really didn't.
Yeah, everyone's gonna say Celtic, Aussie.
Yeah, man. I had to go do my research, and from my research, I was quite impressed. And to be fair, everything from when he's come in, I've only been impressed with him. Like the way he carries. For me, the key thing, the way he carries himself, like the way he's so honest and open.
Hard not to dislike him, man. I can't lie.
Yeah, literally, it's hard. Like really you see these managers that like go into interviews and they just waffle. Like sometimes they just waffle about random shit, do all these different analogies.
He's a Liverpool fan as well, George. So I have to like him. He's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. Could be an inside job slightly soon.
Yeah, and he just be giving you the realest. He'll be like, mate, like he's not ready to come in the team. Like he just keeps it the realest, and he shows you what it is of our team. I feel like he keeps it very transparent with the players, and you can tell that in how they believe in him and how we are playing. So I've been nothing but impressed with him. I like the way that he made the change with the captaincy and everything. And yeah, man, Postecoglou's done well. He's been perfect for us. I feel like.
So how do you look at it going forward then, Carl? Obviously, like I've been there under Unai Emery now. I think they're very different. I think a bit like Arteta last season, we was a breath of fresh air in how we're playing. Obviously, because of the form you're in, naturally people are going to find ways to nullify you and stuff like that. How do you feel about it going forward?
Going forward, I do know that of course, like we're at the start. I know this isn't going to be all easy running. I know we're not going to stay unbeaten for the rest of the season. I expect some trip ups to come. I'd like to see how he deals with those trip ups, like we did against Fulham in the Carabao Cup when he made all those changes. we dealt with it. Of course, that's a different team. But when we go into these Premier League games, I'd like to see how we deal with losing against a smaller club, because that's going to come this season. We're going to drop points against
everyone's going to drop points
off the table, and I expect to see. I want to see how we deal with that. And you know what? I do think that's going to be good. I do expect us to continue to play good football, continue to push onto the top of teams in the Premier League. And I hope in January, I really do hope that we go and back him and give him more players, go give him a bigger squad to work with. So we're not in summer scrambling around, battling with everyone, trying to sign the biggest and better stars. We just start doing our business from early, because we haven't spent the Harry Kane money yet. We fully haven't spent that much money last summer. We brought in a few players in the positions he wanted, but depth-wise, we still lack a lot. If we have 1 or 2 injuries to our spine, we're pissed. And that's the one thing. We need to make sure we can get to January without any injuries, and then from January onwards, improve the squad.
So what's the goal for the season then as well?
Top 4, 100%. I mean, prior to the season, I don't feel like any Tottenham fan went into the season thinking top 4 is a possibility. But when you see the season playing out, you could see that, like, we're there. We're definitely there. There's an opportunity there. Of course, I'd like to I want more. I always want more, but it's our first season of the project. I can't expect anymore, and I can't really demand anymore from the manager. Top 4 is probably it's already an achievement, and he's already doing good enough for his first season. In the next season, we can start talking about pushing on and doing better things. But this year, it's just about securing top 4 and just making sure that we have a place in the Champions League.
George, I got a question for you then. What if someone said to you solely top 4 or 6th? So that means Europa and an FA Cup. What would you rather?
I honestly, you know what?
You gotta pick.
I don't. No, this is what I mean. I don't like this question. This is a question,
bro. I would do a lot for Arsenal to win a trophy this season as well, bro. Pause.
No, but it's a nice trophy. It's a thought-provoking question, George, bro. So
it is difficult. No, you're right. It is. The thing is, for me, like, I think Ange, like, he said it really well in the interview when he was asked. It was like, it's about what shows progression. If we finish 6th, and I'm looking at teams that are lower than us that shouldn't be finish above us, and like the end of the season, let's say our form dips at the end of the season, I could start to see problems. I'm not going to be happy with that. I'm quite frankly, I'm not. Like, I don't want to finish 6th. If we win an FA Cup, a trophy, of course, it's going to be amazing. I want to win a trophy, and I'd bite your hand off to win a trophy. But if you're asking me top 4, like a solid top 4 position where I see this team progressing and playing well, then I think that we should be going on to win the trophy next season if we're progressing and we're continually getting better. So I need to see the long-term progression and start up, because the last couple of years Tottenham have been focused on that short-term, trying to get our trophy now. And our project
with the Jose's and Conte's and whatever.
Man, right. We've got Postecoglou for the next 4 to 5 years. So I'd like to see a yearly progression. And the only way we're going to do that is by taking our time and not just rushing to that trophy.
Facts. Let's talk Liverpool then.
Yeah, bro. Where does that start with my club? With me, you know me, DG Brown. Jaws knows I try and keep my feet on the ground, but you can't deny the table right now. If you told me we would be 3 points off the top 8 games into the season, I would have called you a madman, because this is this season is essentially supposed to be a rebuild for us. But then you look at the more optimistic Liverpool fan, you'll say, you know what, you still got that core of Alisson, Dijk, Robbo, Trent, Salah that have been there, done it, won everything. And the club we have to keep the standards high. But my thing is, with our club, we still don't have that competent 6, and I still think we need a left centre back, because if Konate or Dijk gets injured, right, big up Gomez and Matip for what they've done. Gomez is local to me in South as well, so I always have that love for him. But the drop-off is big now. It's big that Matip's on a decline, like, ability-wise, and Gomez, when he plays right back, he's actually quite good, but that centre-back, in that centre-back role, it's just not really good. And where Trent inverts now, even Robbo now, he's coming to a left centre-back, and we're quite susceptible on the counter. I'm going to start with the negatives, then go on to the positive. For me, similar to George, I think Liverpool and Spurs are in a similar situation where if we're within 2-3 points off the top in January, I don't trust my ownership, and I don't know if George 100% trusts his ownership to then go and strengthen. But if we do, I think we come out a title challenge. One thing I will say is we will stay with Arsenal and City, for me, for a certain amount of time. I'm going to go as far as saying maybe a February, March, because we do have the players to, and we do have the squad to. But I feel if we want to go to title challenge to the wire, we need to add a left centre back. I think we're looking at Hincapie from Leverkusen and Andre Trinidad. I think it's Trinidad or Trinidad from Fluminense, but he has a Copa America final, Copa Libertadores final, so they didn't want to sell him just before. But he's keen on the move. I think we've signed them two, and we're 3-4 points off the top or even top. I think we can mount a title challenge. So they're the negatives for me. And this conceding first, oh my days, how can I forget? This conceding first, it's only, I think only one game this year we've not, 2 games this year we've not conceded first. That was Chelsea first game of the season, that's Aston Villa. Every game, DG, we concede first. And I said, for me, it's more individual mistakes. I don't think it's a collective thing. For me, it's more individual mistakes. We're not starting well, but then second half we're hardly conceding. But for me, it just has to come. It has to come down to a lack of just maybe not wanting it from the off. Do you know what I mean? That's for me what it comes down to. But then we're ending games very strong. Like if they put up a stat before the Brighton game, we had only conceded, I think it was 1 second half goal, 1 or 2 second half goals. So we're ending games stronger than we start them. But I said, and it's evident, I named about 4 teams: Spurs, Brighton, City, and Arsenal. Obviously, we've not played City and Arsenal. And I said this before the Spurs and Brighton game. If we concede first to this handful of clubs, we might not, our firepower and our attack might not be able to get us out of jail. And it was evident. Spurs score first. We end up losing that 2-1, which, cool. It was a last-minute own goal, but they still got the job done. And Brighton, they took a draw spell, and Brighton was a 2-2. So I said against a better quality opposition, we won't be, our firepower won't be able to get us out of jail. However, as a Liverpool fan, and this is where the positives come into it, conceding first against lesser opposition, I just know we're going to come back, because our front 5 in Salah, Jota, Diaz, Nunes, and Gakpo, that's just a plethora of goals all over the park. And every game we've gone 1-0 down, I'm saying to my brethren, I'm saying in my group chats, we'll come back and win this. To be fair, I did say it against Brighton as well, but they obviously nullified us and they had a bit more quality. But one thing I'll say about us is, it's kind of reminiscent to Klopp's first days, which is kind of a big positive, where we've got rid of the Fabinos and Hendos, and Thiago, I forget he's still at the club, but he's very injury prone. Where they couldn't run anymore and their legs were gone, we bought in your McAllister, your Gravenberch, your Endo, your Szoboszlai, which for me has been our sign of the season so far, which are very industrious, there's a lot of synergy going on, because I still think we need a 6, but where they work so conducively, it's overcompensating for that 6 role. And where we're winning the ball higher up now, if you watch Liverpool, we're winning the ball in your third, in the opposition's third, and a lot of teams are making mistakes from this. This is where I think we're getting a lot of success. And Klopp did say this is Liverpool 2.0. It's going to be kind of reminiscent to when he first came in, but we're not far off. Me personally, I think we're going to win Europa League, by the way. If Sevilla finish third, then, that's their bread and butter. That Real Madrid in the Champions League is that Sevilla in the Europa
next in the champ still.
Oh yeah, that's your next game, innit? But if they finish third, it'll be Tekken. I'm looking at Alonso's Leverkusen. However, I think we're winning Europa League. I said this the minute we finished 5th last season. I think that is ours, because that is the one thing. No one really says it, because Klopp's won the Champions League. He's won the more prestigious European trophy. But that's the one trophy he's not won. And we've got to that final before and lost it. I don't know if you remember, Sturridge bad boy. Yeah, it's literally his first season, bro.
Yeah. I swear Moreno was there or something.
Man just got skinned. The Nuke Romero, I think it was, just skinned them a new one. They had man like Nzonzi and that just bullying us in the middle of the park. But Sturridge scored a nice opener, but we end up losing that game 3-1. And Klopp and Dijk, a lot of players and coaches come out and they want to be professional. They're not going to say, "Oh, we're not in this to win this." But when you feel it, I genuinely think they want to win that. But in terms of the league, I think we're going to be put in a dilemma, because, like I said, if we in January, if we're 2 or 3 points off the top, which I think we will be, and FSG decided to pull their things out of us and actually invest in a squad, because from that Caicedo bid, we bought Gravenberch for about 36 and Endo for about 10. We still got about 60, 65 excess of that bid. So there is money there. They can't fool us this time. There's money there. And I think if we will stay invest in January, being a couple points off the top, I think that's when you've got to ask, what do you prioritize more, the Europa League or Prem? And every Liverpool fan will say Premier League over Europa League all day long. But I just feel we will need to invest in January. But I am happy with our start, man. I did not think we would start this well. And even 1 to 11, I know you might not want to hear this, DG, but I still think only City have a better 1 to 11. I think our 1 to 11 is still the second best in the league. Honestly, I still think we have the strongest 11 in the league.
It's a fair shout. Couple individuals at my club might finesse couple spaces, but
you've
got Mo Salah in it.
But like this, DG, if there was a combined Liverpool Arsenal team, I think it will be kind of even, 6-5 or 5-6.
They would. I
You
can't
know what I
disagree.
mean?
Salah's defo in there. Alisson's defo in there. Van Dijk's defo in there.
Mm.
Midfield, I don't know. Havertz is in there. Now I'm chatting, man. Nah, midfield a bit racist. I know Declan Rice is in there. Yeah, probably would. No, that's because I always use Liverpool as an example. I don't know what you man did to keep your squad fit, but that's the kind of levels I want to go off. I just wanted to ask you. Obviously, you've mentioned FFG quite a lot. Obviously, Liverpool are not doing what they normally did, and no managers without faults. What has Klopp done wrong? What faults does Klopp have? Or better,
people that know me, right, and he started to prove me wrong, but I was actually Klopp out in the middle of last meeting. George remembers we lost to Brighton. Say that again.
Raw Klopp out.
Yeah. I've got my read because you know what it is. You know it's from a rivals looking in, outside looking in. It's like, look what everything he's done for you. Like he deserves this unlimited amount of time because of everything he's done for you. But we all know, you know, sometimes you've been in a job too long. I'm not. By the way, when I wanted Klopp out, I wasn't saying he's a bad manager. You know, he'll go to a Bayern or Real Madrid when. Yeah, man, he'll go to a Bayern or Real Madrid and win enough trophies. That for me, he just needed a different change of environment. There was talk. Players were listening to him. Even in the summer, there was actually talk that apparently he was even doubting himself. I'm questioning whether he wants to leave. Say that again.
Naturally, you would, didn't it?
Naturally, you would. After them result, and what was the big point? What was the big obvious reason for me is after the Brighton game, we lost 3-0 to Brighton twice within like a month here. But the Premier League one, he's doing prayer hands to the fans that I've got this wrong. Because for me, what it was with Klopp is it was little in-game things that were to a detriment to our team, like just dropping a line 10 yards back. We were still playing a high line, knowing our midfield can't press. So what that does, it's like a donut. It leaves a hole in the middle, and it's like Klopp. Just notice this. Drop it. Just I'm not even saying to play a low block because we can't with the quality we have, but drop it 10 yards back. There were certain changes he wasn't doing. Fabio Carvalho, one player that I was very fond of. Right, he was doing well in training. He had a few cameos, which was good, but he just couldn't get on the team. When you're seeing a Fabinho and Hendo that are dropping stinkers week in, week out, so there was a lot of things that Klopp was doing, and even some in-game things, he was just a bit tactically inept. And I said, you know what? I'm not calling this guy a bad manager at all, but I think his time is done, as in he needs a new change of environment. And then, listen, I was beefing my fans all last season. I was like, no, he warrants another year. And I got that because of everything he's won, he does warrant another year because, you know, there was that 7-year spell thing where after 7 years, it goes splits up if you look at his past history. But the start of this season, and I remember, I want to big up Grizz still. Grizz was always saying to me, I need to big up Chris because he always said, Roms, keep the faith, because once Klopp has his players, you know what this guy can do. And it's evident. The start of this season, I'm not going to say it's been flawless, but it's been better than what I expected. And I'll say better than what a lot of Liverpool fans expected. But Klopp, what I think he's done well is now he's got players that can run. One thing with Klopp as well, you have to be, he won't just sign you if you're good. You have to, your family life has to be well. He has to like you as a character. You know, some manager will just sign you and not really care how you are as a character. This is where Klopp and Pep get it right. They identify how you are as a person. Yeah, they identify how you are as a person, how you are as a character. Are you going to fit in well? That's why Klopp and Pep really rarely get it wrong. Don't get twisted. They have got it wrong. They have got it wrong signing, but other managers will get it more wrong. More often than not, but back to your question, because I feel like I'm diverting too much. Where Klopp's got it right,
yeah, man, it's a fantastic conversation, bro.
Yeah, where Klopp's got it right is he's brought in the players he wanted. They fit in our system. The only player I would say that needs to get out of his position ASAP is McAllister, because I was at the Tottenham Liverpool game, right, and he is not a sick. After 20 minutes, I don't know if Sky Sports cameras picked this up, but his hands were on his knees. He was knackered. So you did see it. His hands was on his knees, bro. I was at the Europa League game, a week ago today against Union St. Galois. He didn't start. He's come on and he's blowing after like 10 pause, but he's blowing after like 10 minutes. That he was shattered. And we know here, Endos are only out and out 6, and there's been a lot of debates between Liverpool fans. He's a 6, so play him there. But then Endo in the Europa League games, against games you should be showcasing, against opposition where he should be standing out, he's not played well. So for me, Klopp don't trust the Endo, and now he's put in a McAllister there, which that's not his position. So for me, other than McAllister, he's got all of our other signings quite right. And I just think Klopp just needed his own players, and I didn't see this last season. I'll hold my hands up. I thought he was just done. He's making stupid decisions, and I've always said as well, Klopp was kind of a detriment to us last year because we held out for Bellingham. You lot will know this for about a year. You held out for Bellingham when there was other midfielders that could have put us in better stead. Yet you held out for Bellingham that was a detriment because we didn't end up getting him. Then it's a panic. Then it's a last day of this transfer in Arthur Melo, who didn't hardly made an appearance for us. So for me, that's also where I was crop out. It's like you can't always shift all the blame to FSG. You had stuff to do with this as well. But he's proved me wrong now, and I'm willing to give him to the end of the season because I think this could be not a special, but a very good season. Because if you're telling me we go on a title challenge and win the Europa League, I think that's wicked, and we'll go again next year.
Are you not worried? Like you say, especially with like always this Europa League run, man, it catches everyone. Like everyone thinks that it's easy. Whenever it hits March,
there's more games as well than in the champs.
Literally, every team it catches
now,
them.
Sorry to cut you. There's a change this year. Sorry to cut you, George. There's a change this year because DG, you'll know Europa League. They've changed it. I think only last year.
If you finish, I'm in champs, bro. I don't know about that.
If you finish first now, the third place from Champions League and second place in Europa, they have to play that extra round. So we actually won't.
Yeah, you're right.
We actually won't start playing until February. We have like a month. But I know what you mean. It does catch you out. I know what you mean.
So the one thing I was gonna say is, the one problem you do is your midfield. Your midfield is very thin. Like apart from that midfield three you have, like you said, the drop off is massive. Like you've got Batechi, who's a decent player. He's still improving his potential. Like for the future, Endo not good enough. And then who's the other one? Harvey Elliott.
Never seen him.
Do you see them coming into the team and filling the gap when there is potentially going to be injuries in the midfield when you've got a load of games coming up?
Do you know what it is? Endo, again, don't rate George. Harvey Elliott, the fan base is 50-50 on him because he's got a lot of potential. But for me, he gets into position. Now, he's been in the first team about 2-3 seasons now. I remember he had that freak injury that Pascal struck, that broke his ankle against Leeds, right? Dislocated his ankle.
You probably would have got England call up off the back of that.
Yeah, because before that, remember his 4 minute. Remember his form before that. He started that season flying on all cylinders, but since then, it's taken him kind of time to get back on his feet. But for me, he gets into positions where I need a bit more productivity. I'm not his biggest fan. I'm not saying he's bad, but do I see him being long-term in this Liverpool team? No. My thing, George, for me, where we can combat this, I just want to get to January still within a shout of winning the title because I think if we can get to January, George, similar to you lot, and then invest, I wouldn't be as worried. But for me, this is where I think Klopp needs to identify this. I don't know if you lot watched the Brighton game, but I wanted Gravenberch to start ahead of Elliott. And shit, Sherlock, the minute Gravenberch come on, we start to look, there was more stability. Brighton didn't really, we had our best spell in the game. Elliott for me is a bit too lightweight. And I would personally go with Grab in the 6, McAllister in the 8, where he thrives for Argentina, where he thrives for Brighton.
Side sort of thing.
That's what I was thinking. And then I prefer his body around a bit more as well.
And then Sabozza, and I have to big up Curtis Jones here because this is another guy that was linked to move with Crystal Palace, Aston Villa and that. And he has actually been, I know Sabozza will get the headlines and that because the flair and looks aesthetically pleasing on the eye, the goals, the assists, but Curtis Jones has probably been our most important midfielder, as in he's probably our best presser. He's the most industrious. And there's times where McAllister's on in that advanced 8 role and he's covered in the 6 and he's been very well. And the one game he doesn't play, you kind of see our deficiencies in that midfield. So to answer your question, George, when it comes to 8s, we've got a lot of depth in the 8s. We've got about 7 number 8s. That's the craziest thing. And I know we forget about him because he's going to come back and probably get injured, but we still have Thiago. And what I say to our fan base is,
I fully forgot about him, He didn't even brush
same. And do you know what's mad, right?
He's cutting out at the end of the year or something, man. He's done.
I would say possibly even January, DG, because it's a thing where it's the thing with Thiago. When we signed him, Liverpool in my lifetime have never signed a ready-made world-class players. Your Torres, your Suarez, your Alonso's, your Mascherano's, they were all potential. They were all top class, but they weren't world-class. Thiago in my lifetime has been the only proven world-class player we've gone out and signed. I think when we signed him in that COVID year, only probably him, Pogba, Modric, KDB, they were like, he was within the top 5 in his position in world football, right? And a lot of our fans have said we've overrun him. He had an interview where he said, Klopp has taught me how to run. but it's a thing where that's not his game. Do you know what I mean?
He's not here for that, man.
Yeah, man. We need legs around you, not to teach you how to run. And I'll be real, Klopp's football has broken him down. But my point is, this season, a lot of fans are why are the pessimist Liverpool fans complaining? Because this is what we want him to use him sparingly to be a luxury player. I'm sorry. To be a luxury player, you have to be available. You can't be a luxury and you're not there. Do you know what I mean? So for me, we've got an abundance of 8s, and I'd say Pajicic can play the 6th, but he likes to actually go forward. So George, I think you're spot on. When it comes to that 6th role, we don't have quality in the 6th, and we don't even have that depth. But in terms of our actual midfield in 8/10s, we've actually got quite a lot of quality, and I would even say depth. But I'm with you, George. We need to strengthen in that position, man. Come in January, 100%.
No, you're right, man. Because it's like when I look at Liverpool, you look very susceptible in the transition. I still think you got that Anfield hype. I still think you're a dangerous team. It's just if you're gonna get at you, it feels like you can only kind of play one way. And I don't know what's gone on there, but you were linked half-heartedly, but you were linked with Declan Rice, you were linked with Enzo, you were linked with Lavia, you were linked with Caicedo, and that's where I think Klopp's been kind of done dirty because you've not got none of them in. At the end of the day, the man needs to be helped. Would you to answer this question? Does Klopp need to win a trophy this season?
Yes. Well, I mean, we're Liverpool Football Club. He has to, and even if it's not the Prem, Carabao, I think, that's City's trophy. They won it 4 years or 5 years on the spin.
9 times out of 10. They're out of it now, but yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying. So
won it enough times.
I'm only looking at you lot as competition. If we bucket and Newcastle, actually, let me be respectful to them because obviously you know that cliche saying the luck of the draw. I don't care about Chelsea and United in the Carabao. My main competition are you lot and Newcastle, right? That I think we can win. FA Cup's a competition where Klopp's never really respected, other than the year we were going for the quad and we won it. But other than
that's
that,
how I feel about Arteta. Other than when he actually won it, I don't think
he really respected it, innit?
Things with that, yeah, man.
But for me, Europa League, if I had to pick the one I think we are most likely to win, it's Europa for me. Obviously, I'd love to win the Prem, but to answer your question, he has to, man, because last year, one of the worst years, it was Klopp's worst year since he's been at the club. In his 7-8 years at the club, it was his worst year. I feel like he needs to win a trophy. Even if it's not the big one, the Prem, just win one of the cups. Do you know what I mean? But he has to. And I need to shout out my boy Alisson, because for me, best keeper in the world, and he's got us out of jail. You know what I say to you? Our firepower and our attack gets us out of jail. So does he. The amount of one-on-ones, I think all of your clubs have experienced. One of your players going one-on-one. You just, as a Liverpool fan, it's like, and I'll ask you to as oppositions, when your player goes one-on-one with Alisson, are you even 100% that they're even going to score? Because we're quite comfy. We're like, oh shit, they're in, but then we're like, we got Alisson. So obviously he's not going to save every shot, but 7 times out of 10, he's saving it, and we're so blessed to have him, man. So blessed.
Money well spent. Do you ever think about life post Klopp?
Last season, that's all I thought about, bro. That's all I thought about last season. But
life post Klopp, scouting managers.
Yeah, you know me and Tom were out as scouting managers, but I always had two names, right? I had 3 names.
Alonso, surely.
Yeah, you knew it because
it had to be him. Real Madrid, Liverpool, Real Madrid.
He knows the club. You know, it's funny you say that, DG, because a clause even come out apparently, and I think it's true. It's from some credible reporters that he's got a clause in his Bayer Leverkusen contract with if his 3 former clubs come in for him, us, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich, he can go. Like, he's open to speak to them. But for me, there was 3 names last year. De Zerbi, the reason why I say De Zerbi, yes, he's not proven at a big club, but under FSG, you're gonna have to work under constraints. They're not gonna give you this big kitty that Chelsea or a Man City will get. You could even say Arsenal in recent years, because that's where I've got to big up Vinay and Edu. Them man have backed Arteta, and you would even them man have said, look, you need that player, you need that.
The excuses kind of run out now. You're right, man. Money's been spent.
Yeah, money's been spent. So for me, it was De Zerbi because I think he can work under constraints of FSG. Enrique, because I feel like some people say he's a fraud because he had that super front 3 in Suarez, Neymar, and Messi. But I've seen what he can do at a bus team, and I was like, you know, if he comes into this little team, maybe that's more of a name, but I still would have liked him last year. And for me, Alonso knows the club. I love his identity, because with us, we're going to want a manager that, you know, you get them managers that are pragmatic, but they win. So once upon a time, a Mourinho, a Simeone, you could say Ancelotti to a degree. I feel like as Liverpool fans, we all want a manager that comes in that's quite stylistically similar to Klopp, if you know what I mean. So, and I think what Alonso's doing with that Leverkusen team, again, Bayern Munich win that league. We know when it's all said and done. I mean, they won it they started second last day of the season
but it's their trophy,
and still winning. It's their trophy. But I think Alonso's going to be the Dortmund of last year that runs them to the last day of the season. He is cooking with that Leverkusen team. And one thing about Liverpool, we're a very emotional club.
Big boy Granit Xhaka as well, so it makes sense. Man.
You lot will know we're an emotional club, man. So we will need the next manager to come in. The reason why we love Klopp a lot is because he understands the club. And I know it might sound mad to you lot, but we're emotional. We need the manager to come in and understand us. And there's no better man than Alonso. He won everything but the Prem with us. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So for me now, it'll be a De Zerbi or Alonso. They're after Klopp. They're my two, man. They're my two.
What did you lot make of Eden Hazard announcing his retirement?
Me and George are on the same page with this.
Yeah, man. Like, do you know what? It's a hero. He's gone, man. Like, for me, as a man that, like, he scored against all of our clubs. He was a nightmare for all three of our teams.
He used to terrorize us. I can't cap.
He literally, we're all, for one of those ones, we're just going to miss him, man. Like, I thought he was one of the best wingers I've ever seen in the Premier League from my generation, from what I've seen in the Premier League. He's one of the best wingers I've seen. He was just so refreshing to see him play. Like, he was just a proper
serious mercurial talent. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Like, he was the closest you can get to Messi and Neymar in England. Like, he was the closest thing, and he did have a few years where he pushed them on, and he was almost there. And he is, for me, what a definition of big game player. Like, when you talk about big game players, he's the man who.
I mean, he did go a year about scoring, but facts, man. I have to slander this. He played for Chelsea. I've got to throw in some slander, even though you're talking facts.
No, for real, but like, you literally give him the ball at halfway line and just say, make it happen. And that's what he does. He's the type of player who
had everything.
Yeah, man, he had everything. Upsetting to see him go, but yeah, it's definitely about time, man. He has been out for a few years.
It's like he's been retired for forever, if I'm honest. It's sad, man, especially because his little dream Real Madrid move didn't work out as well. So who's the bigger Premier League legend, him or Mohamed Salah?
You know what? Yeah, like, cool. This is where I beef my fan base, right? Cool. When it comes to like the natural ability, bro, because for me with Hazard, right, what let him down was his mentality. He could have been challenging for them Ballon d'Ors or being shortlisted top 5 in a row.
He came from a third world country, he would have been a lot better, man. Their hunger's not there like that for Hazard. It was,
you know, them South Americans, they're hungry, bro. Like, exactly. You know them, they're proper hungry. But the thing is, for me, the bigger Premier legend has to be. I've always said Salah has the bigger legacy because in the Premier League, numbers are better. I think he was a bit more consistent. Because don't get twisted, Hazard was for me the best player in the Premier League from about. Mourinho, remember when Mourinho come back and he won the league in his first year?
Long time.
Till about Conte, and then KDB and Salah kind of come in and then kind of took that mantle. Actually, no, I have to big up your boy DG as well, Alexis Sanchez. I think them two are like the top two. I was
gonna say it, but yeah, man, Alexis is better than him for me. Boy, I can't lie to you. He played for us at the end of the day. He is. He is.
You think he's better than him?
Yes. Is Hazard gonna carry Arsenal like how Alexis did? Alexis gonna do all that Chelsea stuff. I know. I seen my boy do it, innit? When my boy was in Spain, he was doing it. I don't know for this year. He's lit, but my boy didn't go a year without scoring. Do you know what it is, DG? Yeah? When it comes to Premier League legend, I'll say Salah because numbers are there. I know he's got one less Prem, but he's got the better legacy. I feel like Salah will be remembered more than Hazard, yeah. But things with Hazard, I think he's in the wrong era. If he was in that era of between like 96 and 04, he's in the it wasn't about era. Numbers. It's deep for him, man.
Yeah, man, he's in the statistics era. Sad. If he was in that era, it was about feeling and enjoying the game and make you fall in love with the game.
He'd have been a perfect player.
You know, when people talk about statistics era, you do know that Salah, I'm pretty sure Hazard's had a season where he's had like 16 goals, 17 assists.
Yeah, he's done mad things.
Yeah.
Seasons.
He's done mad things.
He did.
And the thing is, even taken away from that, for legacy, I still take Hazard. Like, when I look at Hazard, I say he's got more Premier League titles than him. He's got a couple FA Cup, or he's got a couple of FA Cups, or is it one? He's got an FA Cup, he's got a couple League Cups, or whatever. It's like he's got a few more trophies in England, and I feel like I feel like Salah's obviously done more. I say goals wise, he's done a lot for this Liverpool team, but Liverpool haven't actually like they've not won the Premier League twice. Like, I haven't seen him take them to the League. I've seen Hazard do that with Chelsea.
But do you know what it is, George? That me and you, we spoke about this a couple of days ago. I think when it comes to the actual better footballer, for me it is Hazard, and some of my families are getting on to me. For me, it's Hazard. But the reason why I'm going to say Salah probably has a slightly bigger legacy, George, is because I hear you that Hazard has more trophies in England. And even listen, we need to forget he won the league with Lille at age 19. And this is where it goes back to who's the better footballer. Because at 19, Salah was still in Egypt, then went to Basel, where Hazard was being looked at by Chelsea. I remember that summer 2011, just before he went summer 2012. Man City, United, and Chelsea. I think the three biggest clubs in the
Chelsea won the champs that year, and he said, "I'm signing for them." And
no, he was coming up until they won.
I didn't even know you lot were in for him, but deep
we used to be linked with him every week, man.
The used to be linked to everyone. Benzema, Higuain, but also just linked to everyone.
Mr. Wenger's seen everyone. He's telling me he's known big up Wenger, but there's no point coming out and saying I know Kante since he's 14. And that's one of my biggest gripes with Arsenal in this current golden generation. I know we got Saliba, but when you talk, and I know it's easier said than done, but the Dembeles, the Mbappes, the Kantes, all of them, Pogba, even all of them, none of them played for my football club, and that used to be our kind of dumping ground. That will always be something I'll hold against Wenger, even though I love the man.
No, I hear you, but no, back to what I was saying. Like, George, I understand he has more trophies in England and that, but for me, and I'm not a GA man, but it is key. Like, you need to understand, he's come into the league and broken a record in his first season that stood for like 20 plus years and whatnot. He was influential in things with Hazard. I know he's got that Champions League with Real Madrid, but let's be honest, he was the Ryan Brewster to that Real Madrid team. I think he didn't make any more than 3 more appearances. He weren't that influential where Salah was scoring semi-final goals, score against you lot, George. You know that the penalty, the unjust penalty. You know about that.
Big up Salah for that, man.
And I know you love that, DG.
I've never been so happy about a 90-minute performance than that, bro. Because them were ready about the new stadium and all of this. Salah,
Arsenal fans were the biggest Liverpool fans that evening. For me, the reason why I'll say, you know what, George, I'll go as far as say this. Legacy overall, I think there's a debate, but I think Premier League, breaking record after record, let's be honest, I know it was only one, but he did win the Prem. And another thing, Golden Boot 3 times. I think only Henry has got more Golden Boots than Salah. I'm sorry, George. I think Hazard's a better player, but legacy, I think Salah just pips him. That's just my opinion, innit?
It's a techie one, man, because I think football, you throw them both for football, I'd rather watch Eden Hazard. But if I was a manager trying to challenge for trophies, I think my team would be needed to be built in a certain way so that Hazard can do what he needs to do in it. I just think Salah's a bit more hungry. He's more likely to be consistent, as you said. And I think Hazard's the better player, but I would pick Salah, especially if I'm trying to win titles. Or put it this way, if there's a 90-minute Champions League final, Premier League final, whatever have you, I'm going to, and there's a gun to my head, I have to lean towards Salah. I don't think he's as pretty or as clever as Hazard. But yeah, bro, I'm going with Salah because of Salah's hunger for me. Hazard can be very hot and cold. I think Hazard is one of those players, as much as I love him. Backy, bare of them man savaged us at Backy, bro. Chelsea had their shit man savaging us, bro. And then what happened? Ozil played him off the park in the FA Cup. Fuck that, you man. Anyways, back up to Mo Salah. Like, I just think Salah's got more hunger than him. I just think Salah's more likely to determine the game. I think with Hazard, I would need to build my team in a certain way in that he can just do his magic. I don't quote unquote rely on him. He'll be the difference maker, but you're not really the difference whether we win or lose. For Salah, I'd kind of demand you to kind of do that. I just like Salah's hunger in it. I think that's what he's got over him. And I do give Salah credit. While you haven't won as many Premier League titles as Hazard, you played your own part in the first one since 30 years. Like, maybe it's because I'm more accustomed to Chelsea winning it, but there is a debate there. But Hazard's, in my opinion, he's a Premier League legend. He's a mercurial talent. He's kind of one of the last kind of pure footballers. And I am sad how it ended because I don't like to see, he always made a song and dance about my dreams, Real Madrid. I never like to see a man's dream kind of ruined like that, really, especially because even though he never played, you could still see he was held in higher regard by his teammates and stuff. So it is sad. And at 32, I personally, if I was him, I'd go Saudi Arabia. But that just tells me you've been quote unquote depressed for a while. This isn't really a spur of the moment decision. You've been thinking about this for time, man. So I don't know, man. But go on.
Do you know what it is, bro? Like, I'm a football fan if I'm a Liverpool fan, innit? So I fell in love with the game before I even knew to pick a club and whatnot. And when he went to Real Madrid, that's when let's be honest, that last year, obviously after the Backy game, they're like, so will you be a Chelsea player next year? When a man says, we'll see. Like, I'm gonna sit down with my family. Like, you know, them type of
When
talk.
they start capping, I'm cutting.
Yeah,
man.
you know he's gone. Yeah, and I know we all when he signed for Madrid. I think if you're a football fan, we just all wanted him to do well. Like we saw what you've done in England in the past 7 years. Go and shut your stuff in the Real Madrid team. And when he just didn't, I think if he had not even a 3-4 good years at Real Madrid, even if he just had that one standout year at Madrid, I feel like it would be a more easier debate. Do you know what I mean? But the fact he literally did nothing there, it's sad, man. But big up him, man. Like you said, he's the last of a dying breed. Put it like that. Because I look in the Prem now, and there's no one that's that real enigma that's gonna get you up off your seat. There might be one or two, but there's
Bukayo Saka, there's Martinelli, there's bare man out here, there's Odegaard, there's bare man out here. Chill. But you're right still.
Yeah.
Final thing, yeah. What have you lot made of Man United and Chelsea, man? Where do you see their clubs doing? What do you see their clubs on? What do you make as outsiders looking at that? I've been offering my opinions. It looks a mess, isn't it? Essentially.
Yeah. No, literally that. The way that I see it is Manchester United. I know that we hear it from their fans all along, but their problems are always going to lie as long as they have that ownership in. Like you can just see going back to the summer, a lot of the problems you see when Maguire and McTominay were almost gone, but then they couldn't agree like settlement figures for their like they just have so much issues behind closed doors that it's always going to reflect on the pitch. And it just seems like Manchester, it's a reality TV show, Manchester United, because it's one player, there's another player, there's another player. Like there's always
nonsense
some type
every
of
day with that club.
Nonsense going on with that club. Like there's always something. So I don't feel like they're ever going to improve or be in a sustained long-term like good project until they fix that background, all those like issues with the ownership. But Chelsea, I think Chelsea have looked a bit better in the last couple of weeks. I think they've started to find their feet. But like Poch has started to finally start to find the team and how they can start to work together and play good. I don't see them doing anything this season. I'm not scared of Chelsea, and they're not a threat to me at this moment in time. I do think that they've got a lot of players, but they've got too much players. They've got not enough space for them players to prove and improve that they're actually going to make a statement in that squad, because there's not a lot of game time to go around. They've got one game a week up until FA Cup comes around, and when FA Cup comes, it's still rarely ever. So at this moment in time, I don't feel like Chelsea's a big worry, but they are going to be sleepers. I do feel like they're probably going to be doing their thing in the background at the moment, whilst everyone, because they started off so bad, they're going to be having that moment where they're going to be picking up points against all these little teams and maybe going like a little 5-6 game unbeaten run. But I still feel like Chelsea lack the firepower. They don't have a striker. They haven't got players that score a lot of goals. They have a lot of players in that front line.
I say those looking spooky in a Chelsea shirt right now.
Gallagher's been looking better than him this season.
Literally.
Gallagher's been all right. Like,
Gallagher refused to leave, and now he's captain and that. He's living the movie.
That's nuts. Like
you got to rate that mentality, you know. Like, no, I'm staying. I'm staying.
They don't want you no more, and you're still hanging about. Me personally, I would have cut time ago, but you know, it's Chelsea. You're Mr. Chelsea, innit? Do your thing.
Facts.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, I do think they're low key gonna start getting better, but they're not.
I agree.
I don't think any of our clubs need to worry about them anytime soon.
I mean, we got them next, so I'm gonna be easy, but I agree still.
Do you know what it is with Chelsea? I just think they'll start to go on a run once Nkunku comes back. So for me, after Christmas, you're going to see Chelsea go on a run. But for me, it's going to be too little, too late. It still won't be enough to break into that top 8, top 9. Like I still think they're going to finish mid-table now because, bro. I think they're going to start firing all cylinders from after Christmas when the deficit's a bit too much already. Do you know what I mean?
Done sort of thing,
yeah, man. Because I do think they're got one thing you can't deny about them. They've got ambitious own. I know this. They outbidded us with the Caicedo thing. They went muscles. They outmuscled us. You know, this is what I mean. So we know they've got ambitious owners that from when my man's jumping in spaces trying to listen to what the fans saying, that like you can tell as much as you want to get onto Voli, he does have that a bit of care for the club. But for me, they've got their next 9 games is mad. I think it's both of your clubs, a Brighton, a Newcastle. There's Bearman in that run. And I do feel they're going to pick up some surprise results that we don't expect them. But I look at their team. Yeah, man. But I just look at their team and there's not enough goals. I think Cole Palmer. Listen. I'm half yard. I know you are, Goon, as well. I'm never going to diss Sterling in it. I'm never going to diss Sterling. So I think that Sterling and Cole Palmer.
Shelley and Fraser, bro. For me, boy, once you sign for them, man, I'm on to you still.
You know what it is, where he's been at my club, and I'll just have that love for Sterling. But I think him and Cole Palmer, they'll score goals here and there to get them results, but they won't score the volume of goals for them to like jump into that top 6, you know what I mean? And I think once Nkunku comes in, he's a baller. And I know some man will say he's not Prem proven yet, but I watch my brethren's a diehard Chelsea fan, and I watched a few of their preseason games. They played Newcastle and Brighton, and the sample size is small, but they are Premier League teams, innit? And then Nkunku and Jackson were cooking, and these were strong Brighton and Newcastle teams. It's not like they were reserves. So I think once Nkunku comes back, the goals will start flowing. But Chelsea, they're not going to break into that. It's going to be too little, too late. They'll get better, but like February, January times, man. But I don't see them being consistent. But they're going to surprise us these next 8 games. I can see them picking up. Nothing's done on paper, really. Like, we know football ain't played on paper. You can go, George, I looked at our runs. Even our 3 clubs, I looked at all of our runs, and they're quite favourable the next 4 or 5 games. But football ain't played like that. It's easy to say, yeah, that's going to be 5 out of 5, but it probably won't be that. Do you know what I mean?
It is us dropping points against Fulham and then beating City. Football don't
City,
make
exactly,
sense.
bro. Exactly.
The thing is, though, when you do look at that Chelsea run, like up until after the Man United game, so up until the 6th of December, I can't see them picking up like a win. They've got the only win you could say is potentially Brentford at home.
Right. All those other games, City, Spurs, Arsenal, Brentford, they do have a League Cup against Blackburn as well.
That's all of those teams that they're playing are pretty much, apart from Man United and Brentford, you could say all those other teams are in form. Like Brighton have been good in the Premier League. Newcastle have been good.
Newcastle's an away game as well, as is Spurs.
That's what I mean. So that's too big away. I can't see them picking up a lot of points here. They, like you said, by December they could be.
George, you know what it is? The thing is, I was thinking that, but then I just realized this league is the funniest league in the world. They're just gonna win. Remember, I told you they're gonna win a game, and we're all like, how the hell did they just win that? Don't worry.
It might even be on the 21st of October.
No. That's what I was gonna say, DG. Don't worry, bro. You lot will do your thing. You lot will do your thing.
Chelsea, I'll be man. I still scarred with the Chelsea sides when Arsenal on joke business and we used to go over there. I know
you lost there in like 3, I swear. Like
there was like 20 years we were getting our asses kicked in it. So I got a long memory, but I expect to win. I expect to beat Chelsea. I don't want this top 6 record that, I know we dropped points against Spurs from a winning position, which makes me vex. And we beat City and we beat United, but we haven't lost. I don't want it to be against them. I'll accept it to a degree against Liverpool, whether that's home and away. You hold your hands up. It can't be against Chelsea, because for me personally, at my club, now we need to go on a run. Don't care how you do it. Don't care what you do. From now to December, we need to get into the new year still talking about what we're talking about now. What do you not make of Ten Hag? Go on. Before
you know another thing, they're not really conceding as well. I think you're the only team. You and City are the only 2 clubs. I think it's City. Don't quote me on that, but it's defo Arsenal that have conceded less than them. I think they're top 3 or 4 in the league, so they're not really conceding. That's one thing I'll give to Chelsea. Yeah, sorry,
they're getting a bit of structure. No, but like final thing, because I didn't ask you a lot about Ten Hag. Obviously, I know the owners and United fans get their Norwich scarves out anytime things are going wrong, despite spending a lot of money. How much of it is Ten Hag? Because it seems like it's 10 excuses. It's always moaning. You've brought in Lisandro Martinez. He's getting butchered every week. Onana looks like he can't catch a ball. It just looks terrible all over the pitch for Manchester United in all aspects. And you have to look at the manager, because I look at Mikel Arteta. When it wasn't, right now it's easy to praise Arteta, whether he does well or not, because you can see what he's doing. But when it was terrible, you could kind of see the blueprint. I can't see that with Ten Hag. If I was a United fan, I can't see a single reason to essentially be optimistic, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. I do think, like, as much as I did say the owners, like, I think Ten Hag has been one of the main reasons why they've not improved still. Like, as in, they, like, under the constraints of the ownership, they've still had a good enough team to do things. And so far this season, they've had a good enough team to win a lot of the games that they've lost. And like you say, like, you look at their matches and you watch Manchester United, you don't know what to expect. You don't know what tactics
the Brentford game.
Come. Yeah, like he changed his tactics every game. You don't know what to expect of the man with the personnel, and quite a lot of his signings just haven't worked out. Like, Martinez was good last season. He started this season horribly. Onana started this season horribly. Like, and even Højlund's been all right. That's been a good one for him.
He's decent still.
Yeah, but you look at some of the signings they've made, and you look at some of the like man management skills that he's put on show with Sancho, with Ronaldo, with a few other players. You can say and you can look there and like look at him and say, Ten Hag's not breeding what you'd expect to be like what a good club would.
He said errors come to an end. He must have been talking about himself, but I can't lie.
No, like he doesn't have like, you can tell that the morale in the changing room. He's not the one bringing it up. He's not the one setting a good standard, because a lot of players have fallen out with him in the past and continue to fall out with him now. And he comes out in the media and he doesn't try and help himself. Like he doubles down on things. And we all know Manchester United is one of the biggest clubs in world football.
Amen.
What is behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. He brings it to the forefront, and then now their fans are seeing it, and then I think it just reflects on the players, because now the players are like Harry Maguire come out today talking about his win percentage. How fucking embarrassing is that?
Someone needs to
George,
he's a madman. I can't lie.
We want this to carry on. Let him talk, bro. Let him talk. Pick him up. Harry, keep doing your thing.
Facts, but I've never once heard a player come out in my life and say, "Look at the win percentage with me."
No, facts.
I've never heard him.
He's literally deluded.
No, he is. He literally is. And the fact that he's done that shows that he doesn't respect his manager, because any man with respect for his manager would never come out and say something like that. Being the captain that he got, he doesn't, and it's the change room's a mess right now.
Do you know what it is with United? Yeah, you touched on it. I think just before we spoke about Chelsea, when we first touched on United, you know, you like there's always like a circus. They're like a reality TV show. If you actually look at the history of United, yeah, this has been happening. That you look at Nistra, you look at Jaap Stam, you look at your Beckham. I just finished watching a Beckham documentary, and as cold as they was, there's always something going on in United. You look at Nistra, you look at Roy Keane. Difference is they had a bad man in Sir Alex Ferguson that would not tolerate it. What you're messing about for a second, you're out the door. Ten Hag, you're not that guy. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, one thing I have to big him up. If you go to any club and win a trophy in your first year, e.g., like Arteta did for you lot, and win his first 6 months and that, you've got to give man his credit for that. But word to what you said, DG, yeah. When Arteta first came in Arsenal, when Klopp first came in Liverpool, when even Ange now, you can see a blueprint, you can see an identity. You might not be the finished article straight away, but you can see you're building towards something. With Ten Hag, like last season, I think they lost their first two, and then we gift them their first win, and they went on a little run from then. And he kind of made United a fortress, but it was a lot of scrapey wins. It wasn't, none of the wins were really convincing. And after we won that League Cup, I mean, they let us close the gap for top four. It was looking at everyone's saying Liverpool are going to get fourth.
And you lot shot yourselves in the foot,
exactly, because of them, and that's the thing. That it's never sustained. United will play well for one game, then bad for like 3 or 4 games. And for me, where I kind of thought, because I thought he would be the guy. I'm not even gonna lie. When they first appointed him and he won a League Cup, and I said, you know, this might be the first manager that actually going to be at United for a while. Then when I'm seeing him go back in for his Antonys, his Ananas, his Martinez's, going back to his comfort zone. Yeah, man, going back to his comfort zone, I'm like, you might not be that guy, man. And if you look heard the left hand recently that they asked him, do you think Ten Hag's the guy? And he's like, it's not even that I think he's the guy, but he's just gone to a 10 times bigger club. You're at Ajax where everything's run through you. You're used to selling players. You've got that conveyor belt of talent. You know what it is where you're at United now, where you're under pressure from day one. Like the lights shine brighter. Like, so that I'm saying, it's not that I think he's a bad manager. He might just not be able to handle the pressure. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of United, long may it continue. But they're just going to get sporadic. They're going to get sporadic wins, like wins here and there. But it's not going to be sustainable. And you know what? I'm going to say he doesn't make it past Christmas. I think
that's what I'm looking at as well. That's what I'm looking at as well. Like it won't make everything better, but a lot of his doing is because of the ownership. A lot of it is his own man doing. Like I actually like Ten Hag. I think, he had a good philosophy over there in Holland. Yeah, as you said, he had a good home record. I do think at times they were becoming a good counter-attacking team, but it just looks like he does the blame game. There's no crisis management. Something Arteta struggled with is adapting things in game. I don't think he does that. I think one of you said it as well. He kind of goes to his comfort zone with his recruitment. And as you lot said as well, it's not just that you could be the best manager in the world, really and truly. You need to learn to play the game, when to have people on side, when to even, you look at Jadon Sancho, when to even pick your battles. By all means, in the summer, rub him out. During the season, you've kind of got to keep him on board. So I do think Ten Hag is in the grand scheme of things at that football club, a minor issue. As you lot are saying, it's all off the field and everything they're doing. They've even got a leaky roof. So I think it's peak for United, honestly. I don't think they attack well. I don't think they defend well. I think their midfield's a mess. I think their on-field decisions Ten Hag makes his issues. I think they're quite jammy, whether they win, lose, or draw. It's not sustainable. Right. Elements of that I see with Unai Emery when we went on the unbeaten run. Like on YouTube, that was my hardest time when Emery was going on an unbeaten run, because I couldn't really tell people nothing. Games, I couldn't really tell people nothing. I used to sit there and say, Olan, we're forever making subs in the second half. You know, Emery used to be praised for that. We had to do that against Cardiff. There's got to be something underlined in here. As you said, big him up for winning a trophy, but it just seems a mess. And I'm not going to lie, I think a lot of players are hiding behind Ten Hag because they probably look at it, I'm on 3 to 5 year contract. He could get sacked. It's a new manager. I might get a new lease of life. So it's looking peak, man.
They're not playing for him, man. They're not playing
for themselves, bro. It's peak.
Because you know what it is with United as well. You just look where the goal's going to come from. Because Rashford, by the way, I'm going to say it now. He will go on his purple patch run. He will. Me personally, I don't really rate him that highly, but he's about to. Man. Yeah, man. He's about to get 7 in 10. It will happen. It happens every year. But if it's not Rashford, I rate Højlund. But to put that premise on a 20-year-old in his first season. Yeah, and he hasn't had a pre-season as well, so he's already behind everyone in fitness.
Carrying a back injury as well, apparently.
Yeah, man,
because he's actually starting to be positive about.
You saw what he done in Champions League when he ran through his own half. Like you know, there's certain things you can see. There's a player
against us as well.
Also, exactly. Like you could see that there's a player there, but other than Rashford, I don't rate Bruno at all. I'll tell you, man, for free. But he's not putting up what people love him for is one thing I don't rate Bruno, but one thing I have to respect is that first 2 years his output, it was crazy. You can say penalties, you still have to score them. People miss penalties, you know what I mean? You still have to score them, but he's not even doing that now. So it's like, if it's not Rashford, where the hell are the goals coming from? Do you know what I mean? And he's not even scored. Rashford himself ain't even bagging now. So it's like, bro, they're just hoping and praying, bro. But United, I think Ten Hag goes by Christmas or in that winter break, and yeah, man, long may it continue. I think we all three will agree on that. I can't stand them.
The game, bro. 100%. I hope it continues. Man, but yeah, man, let people know where they can find you lot, man, because it's been a fantastic show, man. Let people know.
Big show. I've loved it.
Appreciate you lot for joining, man.
Do you want to go first, George? Or...
Man, I'm even shy, man.
Sometimes it looks like he's about to speak, and I thought, quickly, I don't have my own personal channel, but you'll catch me 2 main channels on Never a Foul. You'll catch me there with George. Me and George are on there often. Big up Never a Foul, and you'll catch me on Big Six Bants, Mons, Casey, Kiers, Ethan, Corey, their channel. They're the 2 main channels you'll catch me on. Terrence here and there, but yeah, man, that's where you'll catch me.
George.
And me, pretty much similar to once. No channel in particular, but catch me on all different channels, whether it's Never a Foul, Football Terrace, Saeed TV, whatever it is. You just follow me on Twitter.
Oh yeah, Saeed as well. Big up Saeed.
Yeah, so catch me, follow my Twitter, and you'll find my streams _4 George. And
now, George, you're not doing it enough, bro. Big up your damn TikTok as well. I see. Do-Rag Diaries. How can you forget your own platform, bro? Do-Rag Diaries.
I'm so lazy. I'm too lazy with it. I can't lie. Yeah, I'm definitely lazy with it. I need to bring in more with the Do-Rag Diary content and stuff. But yeah,
it's great content, man.
Bro, people follow all the socials. Get onto them until they bring out their own platforms as well. Make sure you're following Never a Foul because they make great content. I think you lot do everything, every flipping football club, every flipping topic. So yeah, man, make sure you lot are taking them in. Smash the like button, subscribe, lads. Let me let you lot get out of here. Peace, man. Safe. Peace.
There's always just that active red light defending. I think it's like